Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the second episode of Learning Swift with me. I'm sorry it's been a while. I just got very busy with work, but we're back with another episode. We're going to continue where we left off. I did, however, take the time between last episode and this episode to just learn a little bit more about Swift, Swift UI, and like kind of app development. And I worked on some stuff, but I do want to continue where we left off and hopefully see how much we can get done today. So as you may remember, previous in the last video, we left off with a static model of our main view of our app, where we have the title at the top left, a new notes button, and kind of you can click in to your notes and kind of you can actually click in anything. These are just text, H stacks and everything. So today we're gonna continue. I did find a very good tutorial on Swift, which I will link below, that helped me a lot kind of understand everything. And watching that, I actually kind of got a couple of ideas, which I do want to mention before I start. I was thinking that after getting this app to work, I can possibly kind of make an equivalent version on macOS and then set up a database on a backend in order to kind of have my notes sync between the two devices and then kind of any other device that I have the app on. And that would be like pretty interesting because it will be kind of all the parts that go into creating an app. And then I can work on adding just features such as adding pictures, stuff like that. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so this is where we left off. Actually, what I do want to do is, so I've learned that Swift is very similar, like has similar aspects to JavaScript, where stuff can be reusable components, and you can kind of section everything off into its own pretty much file. So here's what I'm gonna do first. I'm actually thinking about taking this header and putting that as a kind of a view of its own. So here, I'm gonna go and create a new file, and it will be a Swift UI file. We will call this app header view. App, actually, header view. Um, okay. Our header view will include kind of everything here. So it should be welcome to your notes and the divider, right? So I'll take this, and if I put it here, it should perfect. Divider's not showing up. Why is the divider not showing up? Oh, actually, I think I might know why. So if I put a V stack, because the divider has to come vertically underneath it. It doesn't know what. Interesting. Okay. Doesn't matter. Let's see if it works if I remove this instead. So now I should be able to just put header view here. Oh, perfect. Okay, so the divider does show up. I'm not sure what's happening here. I think the divider's kind of going to the bottom. So if I put like a spacer here, just for the sake of previewing. Yeah, okay. It is, that does seem to be the issue. Perfect. But I will take the splitter out because it's obviously shifting everything to the wrong place. Okay, so that actually helps a lot. So this, which is actually kind of an icon right now, um, needs to actually become a button, right? So what does that mean? So in order to kind of turn this into a button, what I'll do is I'll set this up as a navigation, the navigation link. So I believe, because I have notes and everything. Okay, so we're going to turn this into a navigation link. We don't have a view right now, so I'll worry about that later. But the label can actually, you can just, if you put curly brackets, you can add another component to it. So this label will show up. Obviously, destination doesn't have anything right now. So for now, we're just going to delete this, and we're going to put home view. Is that working? Maybe? No, I'm just confused. I did have to do something before. I feel like I'm missing something here. Okay, so I think what I'm missing is actually um my navigation view. So I have to actually wrap everything in my home view in a navigation view. So I also want a separate entry here, to be honest, because what if I want to enter from another place? So what does that mean? Basically, what I mean is that right now I have home view as my main view. However, similar to how Java has kind of your main file and then your main method, I'm gonna have another view which calls the home view just in case I want to call different views. Why am I doing this? Well, one, because what if I kind of want to set it up so that it goes to a login screen first, right? So if I just do this main view, actually I'll just call it main. That's actually, yeah, the main view is fine. Main Swift, and then here we're gonna call home view. We're actually gonna wrap this into a navigation link. Sorry, I meant a navigation view, right? And then if I go here, then I can just call it from here. So that should fix most of that. I don't think my links and everything will work yet. But we'll come to it and then we'll fix those. Oh, it does work. See, so you can see that the button like now works. Not sure why it doesn't work if I'm in home view. Probably because I'm already in home view, so I can't go from home view to home view, which would make sense. But this is simply just a placeholder for the moment. So we will come back and change that. Now, what do I want? I want these entries to be kind of an entry of its own, right? So I will create a separate view for this. So I'll do new file and then another Swift VI file, and we'll call this note entry view. Okay, so what I'll do as well is I'll bring all of this into here. Okay, so that's perfect. So right now we have obviously hard-coded text. We will come back and fix all of this. One thing I can actually do is I can have actually I'll leave it for now. Yeah, I'll leave it for now, but let's see. Yep, perfect. So I actually don't no longer need this one, right? Because if I can just do, for example, note entry view, and if I copy it 3 times, you can see that it kind of does the same exact effect, right? So I'll just keep this as one. Because one thing that we'll have to do is, so basically we're going to be given a list of notes, right? The list of notes then has to be rendered into multiple of these note entry views, and that is going to be kind of some processing that I'm not going to do yet, only because I do just want to separate everything into its own kind of page, I guess you could say. So I want to create another view actually. This view, I'm going to be calling it the note edit view. So this is going to be the view that I can use in order to kind of edit my notes basically. Now, here, so let me go to my notes. Okay, so there's a couple of ways that I can do this. I do want to set up some of my variables here ahead of time. So what I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna set up a state. Ooh, actually I can't do that because here I haven't done my backing yet. Sorry about that. Yeah, so I'll just do actually a vstack, right? Because I'm gonna have two. So what I'm gonna have is the title, and then I'm gonna have the body. So I'll just have the vstack, and then I'm gonna have a text field, which is gonna have a placeholder called the title, and the text in it is actually just gonna be, I don't know if I can do this right now. No, I can't do this right now, so we won't actually put that in, but there's gonna be axis. So axis basically allows me to say how I want my text aligned when I write into it. So in the title, I don't want it to just be one line because it will just go off the screen, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set it so that once it's out of the screen, it will actually cut to a new line and it'll be left justified. So this will actually be vertical, so that it goes vertically. And for font, what is that? Font, I will actually have it to be a large title, and I'm gonna add some padding as well, because it's gonna like kind of be stuck to everything, and I do want my title to be bold as well. So as you can see here, the text is actually a required argument. We're just gonna ignore this for just a little bit. I'm actually gonna copy this over down. I'm gonna change this to kind of a subheading, I believe. Yeah, I can just do subheading or I can just do default text. Let's see what default text looks like. But basically this is gonna be the note. So we're just gonna put a placeholder which just says enter note here and then dot dot dot, and that's gonna be just perfect. Okay. So what I also want to do is add a button. So at the bottom of the page, I do want a button that basically just lets me save my note. Obviously later on we're gonna have this so that it automatically saves your note as you type, but for now we're just gonna do this instead. So, and then we're gonna do implement function. So we're just gonna have to do here. Perfect. Okay, so moving on. Yeah, so moving on. What I'm actually gonna do next is I'm just gonna let this bug be. So here's what I'm trying to do, right? I want it so that my notes are gonna be saved as objects of their own. In Swift, there's a couple of ways you can do this. You can do this in a class. I'm gonna do it in a struct, only because structs are basically not passed by reference, but passed by value. And I feel like this will help, especially because I'll be using it in multiple ways. And saving it into kind of an object of its own will allow me later to hopefully encode it into JSON and just save it as a file locally or on my database. Because JSON is much easier to read for an application like like a notepad, because it just makes a lot more sense than, let's say, SQL database. So what I'm gonna do first, actually I'm gonna start up a new group and I'm gonna call this DTOs. So these are going to be my data transfer objects. Inside here, I will set up a new file. It's just going to be Swift file, and I'm going to just be calling it note.swift. Okay, so in this note.swift, I will create a struct. This struct is going to be called note. It's going to have what is basically called like a protocol. A protocol is like similar to a Java interface. It's kind of rules that your struct has to conform to, and it also helps Swift and some of the built-in functions to kind of work a little bit better because it has an expected behavior. So there's two protocols that I do want to assign. So here, what's nice about Swift is you can apply multiple protocols. One protocol is called identifiable. So identifiable, what does that mean? Is that I'm required to have a field called ID. And the ID field in my kind of object, it allows me to have a unique identifier for every node. and this is going to be automatically generated, so I don't have to worry about it. The second protocol is going to be called Codable. So this is used if I want to kind of do any encoding into JSON or decoding, and it just allows kind of better with transfer of objects. So for now, we're just going to keep it very simple. We're going to have a variable called ID, and this is going to be a UUID type. So basically, this just generates a new UID for me. I'm going to have a variable called title, which is going to be a string, and by default, it's going to be empty. And I'm going to have a variable called note body, which is going to be a string, and by default, it's going to be empty. Okay, so if I go here to my node edit view, what I'll actually do is I'll set a state. So a state basically means a variable that I kind of initialize here will be available in my body and the view that I'm creating. Otherwise, I actually wouldn't show up there. So it's kind of like making it global, but there are some other properties to it. So I'm gonna have a variable called note. It's gonna be of type note, and I'm gonna initialize it to kind of an empty note here. So I'm gonna have title, which is gonna be empty, and I'm gonna have note body, which is gonna be empty as well. So then what I can do is I can take care of these bugs. So basically here it says that the text field is missing, and that's true. Text field is missing. So I will actually set the text for the title to my note.title. And put a comma there. And I can set the title here to, you guessed it, note.note body. Why is not? Ooh, we got a bug. Access vertical, not title, title. Why am I saying title? Text. My bad. Perfect. So here we can see that our titles are here, and they're grayed out because they're space holders. So I'm also gonna put a spacer here. So this will just push everything down and up, which is perfect. All right, great. So now that we have this, we can kind of implement these same changes to my other files. So basically in the node entry view, I'm also gonna have a variable state. So I'll actually go to the node edit. I'll come here and I'll set it here. So then what I can do is take this and replace it. So I can just call this node.title. Error. What's error? It's not even giving me an error. Okay. Oh man, I think I'm just missing D. Interesting. See, these kinds of errors are always nice to have because it just shows that I'm missing something. So let's just put this in and then figure out what the issue actually is here. So, state var, we do have a variable. Okay. I have a bug here that says what? I actually can't see. Has to confirm for string protocol. Okay. What makes you think that it's not? Interesting. See? Learn with me. I'm trying to figure out also what the issue is. Alignment. Hmm. What seems to be the issue? Yeah. So if I bring in oh, what? No, I still get this error. What is this? What is this and why haven't I never gone this before? Test. Oh, oh. Give me the error again. Where S is equal to binding. Large font. I have no idea what the issue is here. So we're going to bring in this code to see if it causes the same problems. Interesting, it's the same exact issue. But I have everything set up. Am I missing? I'm definitely missing something. I just don't know what I'm missing. Not that this will help. Fail to build the scheme. Okay. Okay. Let me see what the issue can be. That's fine. I'm actually so confused. The schema failed. Missing argument for note and call. Oh. Oh, that's the issue? That cannot be the issue. Oh, what? Okay, now it works. Not sure why. Okay, let me just explain this code. I'm so sorry about that. Basically, what happened here is that I have my prefix, right? I have 20, 12, and 20. Basically, what this means that if it kind of trails off, I do want it to just cut off, right? I just have a dot, 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 which is basically what it's doing here. And I have my title as well. And I do not want multi-line assignment, but I do want it to be gray. Okay. So, now that that's that, I can continue with the rest of it. Okay, so we have this, and we have our edit, right? So we have our note entry view, and we have our note edit view, and we have our main view. Now, what I want to do is so that, well, one, I render, right, the list of notes here. I will actually do something for this, however. So what I'll actually do is I'm gonna bring in a list of tests, but before I do that, so we're just gonna actually set a state here. So the main view is gonna have a state called var, and then it's gonna be all of the notes that are associated to my app. So this is gonna be actually a list of notes, and it's just gonna be equal to an empty list for the time being. Now that that's that, then what I will actually do is I can preview this. Well, actually I can't preview anything right now, but I will bring in these tests. So this is a test note, right? And I can now use my note entry view to render all of these. And how you do this is basically you try to do a list view. So basically you do a list, and inside here you say for each. So for each of my notes, in all notes, that's the list that I'm considering. If each entry is called note, then I want my note entry view, then note, and note. Now, Basically, what this is doing is that it takes all notes, it goes through it one by one, it takes that note and passes it to my note entry view, and as you can see, obviously, renders it in here. Now, this doesn't look very nice, so what I'll do is I'll do list style, and then I'm gonna do plain list style and put brackets. So this looks a lot better, and we can see that it's scrollable, right? But obviously, clicking on them right now doesn't do anything. So how can I fix this? Basically, what I'll do is I'll go in here and I will go to underneath here and put a navigation link. So the navigation link destination for me is going to be the note window, note edit view, and the note is going to be note here. And I actually don't want to have a label, so I can actually just set this to an empty. There we go. So if I come back now to my home view, we can see a little arrow that shows up here. And if I click on to these, it doesn't do anything. Why? What am I missing now, buddy? Note window. You see the problems with programming? Always a problem. Note entry view goes here. This does note edit view. No label and a destination. Hmm. Da, 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 da. Note edit destination. I'm gonna go to the note edit view. So I go here. Does not work still. List has the notes as a note. And that's pretty much all I'm doing. Oh, I think I know what the issue is. I can't go to it because this is not wrapped. This has to be napped in a navigation view. Now, yes, there we go. So now we can see that the notes actually work. So if I go here, note body 99. So now we have actually something that's a little bit more responsive, which is very nice. And I can actually edit stuff, right? But obviously I won't save anything right now. Now what I can actually do is I'm also going to do the same thing here. So in the navigation, the label is going to be here, but my navigation is just going to be the note edit view. So then if I go back to home view and click here, we can see that I'm taken to a blank note page. Okay, that's perfect. Now, what do I want to do next? Well, what I want to do next is actually save. When the button save, click that, right? I want to save to a certain file. So how can I actually do that? So I'm actually going to set up a function in this file here. Normally you would have all of your logic and functions into separate files. Obviously, for sake of timing and for the sake of simplicity, for myself and for you, I'm just going to put it here. So we're actually going to call a function, and we're going to call it save to file, right? And we're going to go here. So we have this note that we have. Now, what I actually want to do is I want to save this to a JSON file. The name of the file, I'm going to set it to the ID because it's going to be a unique identifier. And therefore, sorry about that. So yeah, so save to file, right? And then basically then what we'll do is we're going to save this file with the name of the identifier, and we're going to save it as a JSON as well. So what I actually need is I'm going to have my data. So I'm going to make it constant, and I'm going to have a try here. Actually, before doing this, I do need an encoder. So I'm going to have an encoder, which is going to be a JSON encoder, right? So basically what this does is it encodes my object into a JSON kind of readable format. So then I can just call the encoder and then encode, and I'm going to pass in the note. So then the kind of, if the encoding went properly, so we want to check that using this statement here, string, and I'm going to have data, and then the encoding we want is going to be .utf8. And we're going to have this. Then we're going to set the let document, so document directory equal to file manager dot default dot urls, and then for here we're gonna have document directory and dot user domain master. So basically what this does is that it goes to the kind of the locations where the app has access to, which is going to be the app's internal storage, and it's going to store kind of all of our information there. What is this bug? Oh, we're not catching it. Oh, my apologies. I forgot to wrap this. Sorry about that. Just more stuff. Alright. This one here. Sure, all go away. Okay. There we go. So then we're also gonna the file URL. So the file URL is gonna equal to the document directory, and then we're gonna append path component, and we're gonna add the note, and then we're gonna take the ID, and we're gonna convert it to a string, and we're gonna add a dot JSON to it. Okay, so then I can actually print my file URL to see where I'm actually storing this, right? And I will do a try, and then JSON string, and then dot write to. So this is gonna be the file URL. My boolean is going to be atomically is going to be true, and my coding is going to be .utf. Okay, so I'm actually going to leave that. We're going to appending. Sir. Huh? There's no member appending. Oh, my bad. I forgot something here. First. Perfect. So I'm actually gonna stop it here. I am cooking a little bit short on time, unfortunately, today. But next video, I'm gonna show you guys how to access the internal file system of the phone. We're gonna do it through the simulator and show that the save buttons and everything can start working. We're also gonna try and implement the part where when the app loads up, it will read all the files and display them to the user as well. But I do hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys have any, if you want to see the code and everything, I do have the GitHub link down below. I am posting these and committing these regularly. So I hope to see you guys in the next video.